Greg Gutfeld's recent commentary about Sunny Hostin and her appearance on PBS Finding Your Roots has created a storm of controversy, blending irony, satire, and sharp critiques about identity politics. Sunny, a co-host on The View, has spent years building her brand around outspoken views on race, reparations, and identity. Her unapologetic takes on racial injustice have made her a divisive figure, often praised for her boldness, but equally criticized for perceived hypocrisy. When Sunny appeared on Finding Your Roots, many viewers expected her family history to reflect the values she publicly espouses. Instead, the revelation of her ancestors as slave owners shocked her, the show's audience and the internet at large, providing endless material for critics like Gutfeld. The PBS show Finding Your Roots is celebrated for its deep dives into the genealogical histories of celebrities, often uncovering poignant or unexpected stories. Sunny entered the experience with confidence, sitting across from renowned genealogist Henry Louis Gates Jr. As Gates shared the details of her lineage, the bombshell dropped. Sunny Hostin, who frequently calls out systemic racism and advocates for reparations, is a descendant of slave owners. Her initial reaction was one of visible shock, stammering about how she had always thought of herself as half Puerto Rican and had no idea her family's history traced back to Spain and slaveholding. It was a moment of discomfort, leaving both her and viewers speechless as the irony unfolded before their eyes. Sunny attempted to recover, muttering something about how this new information would be interesting for her children to know, and suggesting it was simply a fact of life that many families share. But her awkward attempt to brush off the revelation as inconsequential did little to mitigate the impact. The damage was done. Her moment of shock was immortalized, and it didn't take long for critics to seize upon it. Fox News host Greg Gutfeld, known for his sharp wit and irreverent humor, wasted no time turning Sunny's family revelation into a scathing critique of her public persona and the broader issue of identity politics. On his show, Gutfeld kicked off his response with a joke that hit its mark, likening Sunny's newfound ancestry to a vegan secretly owning a barbecue joint. The quip drew laughter from his audience and set the tone for his takedown of what he called Sunny's hypocrisy. Gutfeld pointed out how Sunny has spent years criticizing others for their historical connections to systemic oppression while ignoring the skeletons in her own closet. According to him, this discovery stripped Sunny of the moral superiority she often wielded as a host on The View. He suggested that her entire persona, built on condemning the legacies of slavery and white privilege, now rang hollow in light of her own family's past. Gutfeld also speculated about Sunny's ability to form her opinions independently, taking jabs at her by claiming her husband likely dictates her viewpoints. His comments veered into personal territory, suggesting that Sunny's reliance on her husband was reflective of broader insecurities. This critique extended into her penchant for injecting race into conversations where it may not always belong. Gutfeld argued that Sunny has often reduced complex issues to overly simplistic narratives about race, and this revelation exposed her selective accountability. He sarcastically quipped that the next time Sunny pulled the race card on The View, someone might remind her of her own family's ties to slavery. The revelation quickly became fodder for social media, where users both mocked and criticized Sunny. Memes flooded platforms like Twitter and Instagram, many of them poking fun at the irony of Sunny discovering her family's slave-owning past. One particularly viral meme showed Sunny with the caption, "Reparations, let me write that check to myself real quick." Social media users weren't just making jokes, though. Some pointed out the glaring hypocrisy of someone so outspoken about historical accountability, failing to engage in deeper self-reflection when confronted with her own family's history. Critics argued that Sunny's dismissal of her ancestry as just a fact of life was a missed opportunity for meaningful dialogue. While some of Sunny's fans came to her defense, arguing that no one should be held responsible for the actions of their ancestors, others felt that wasn't the point. One commenter summed it up by writing, "It's not about blaming her for her ancestors' actions. It's about the hypocrisy of shaming others while ignoring your own history." This sentiment was echoed by Gutfeld, who used the moment to critique the broader issue of identity politics. He argued that the obsession with categorizing people based on race and ancestry oversimplifies complex social issues and often backfires, as it did in Sunny's case. Gutfeld wasn't the only one weighing in. His panel of guests joined the discussion, with one co-host joking that if Sunny had been shaming descendants of slave owners for years, she might now have to start shaming herself. Another added that Sunny's obsession with identity politics seemed particularly ironic given her lack of knowledge about her own family's history. The segment highlighted what Gutfeld and his colleagues saw as the dangers of self-righteousness and the importance of humility when addressing sensitive topics like race and history. Some viewers saw Sunny's appearance on Finding Your Roots as a potential turning point. They argued that instead of brushing off the revelation as a minor detail, she could have used it as an opportunity to spark a nuanced conversation about the complexities of history and identity. Imagine if Sunny had said, "I've learned something surprising about my family, and it's making me rethink how I approach these conversations." Such a response could have reframed the narrative, showing that even the most vocal advocates for justice can learn and grow. Instead, her apparent shrug and quick pivot left many disappointed. Even Sunny's co-hosts on The View seemed unsure how to react. Known for her sharp wit, Whoopi Goldberg appeared to hold back from making a joke at Sunny's expense, though it was clear the irony wasn't lost on anyone. The panel's awkward attempts to move past the topic only underscored the discomfort it created. Gutfeld, however, had no such reservations. He seized on the moment to critique not just Sunny, but the broader culture of performative outrage that he believes The View represents. For Gutfeld, Sunny's revelation was emblematic of a larger issue with liberal elites who, in his words, are so focused on calling out others that they fail to examine their own lives. He compared Sunny to Marie Antoinette, suggesting that her moral posturing was as out of touch as the infamous Queen's "let them eat cake" remark. Gutfeld's broader critique centered on the idea that identity politics often reduces individuals to their racial or ancestral categories, ignoring the complexities of their lived experiences. The fallout from this episode of Finding Your Roots serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of self-righteousness and the importance of humility. History is messy, and no one is free from its shadows. Sunny's reaction to her family's past could have been an opportunity to engage in a deeper conversation about the nuances of history and the ways it shapes our identities. Instead, her dismissal of the revelation as just a fact of life came across as a missed opportunity for growth. Gutfeld concluded his segment with a biting remark. "When you spend your life looking for racism everywhere, eventually it finds you, and for Sunny, it was sitting right there in her family tree." His words captured the sentiment of many who felt that Sunny's discovery exposed the inherent contradictions in her public persona. Whether Sunny chooses to confront this irony head-on or continue as if nothing happened remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: this story will be talked about for a long time.